So welcome back. Last week we resumed our class last week after a 2-month break. And now we are in a very interesting section. Narad Muni has established to Vyasdev the importance of glorifying Krishna directly, without hesitation. And last time we concluded the section where Narad Muni is giving like a pep talk and, emphasizing how we should glorify the Lord, don't hesitate, all that. So from today onwards, we are starting an interesting section where Narad Muni is going to give a case study of how Krishna consciousness is powerful. Because we were discussing last time also that, postmodern preaching is all about telling stories. And especially your own story, it has a lot of effect, right? When we tell our own stories, it has a lot of effect. So therefore, Narad Muni is going to tell his own story now, how Bhakti works. And now the next 6 verses from 23 to 28, he will describe the different stages of Bhakti, which Vishwanath Chakravarti has given 14 stages. We will not get into all the technical details of those stages of Bhakti. But nevertheless, we will mention what those stages are, and then we will touch them. Basically, the idea is when we hear all this, we understand how Krishna consciousness is so powerful. That even people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, they come to Hare Krishna movement and they get attracted. So many people are in. Like, to give one example, one boy, we had Bolas classes here earlier. So these children used to come for classes, and one of the boys used to come with his friends. He was studying in Bolas classes, and he used to say, "Oh, these guys are all taking drugs. They are Dhammarodham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram." This is many years ago. And all his friends used to joke about the monks, Hare Takle log hai, saffron. They used to make fun of them. Every day he used to make fun, used to see them like that. And he used to come, go for his classes, go back. But because he saw devotees smiled at him. Sometimes somebody must have given him Prasad, whatever. Years passed, and today we know who he is. He is your Premnidhi Prabhu. One of the most successful preachers who has done so much preaching. There was one boy who used to come for our program. He used to only come during Khichdi time, just to take Khichdi, Prasad. We used to just quietly observe. And then he eventually joined the ashram, became kitchen in charge of serving Khichdi to everyone. So there's unlimited stories like that. Because Krishna consciousness, how Krishna attracts you, it is like this. You don't want Krishna, but you come and then Krishna pulls you in. It is like that famous Bollywood song, Nana karte pyar tumi se kar baithe, karna tha inkar, magar ikrar tumi se kar baithe. That's how Krishna is so beautiful, so wonderful. So therefore, Narad Muni is now going to say how the process worked for him also. So he tells his own story. Please understand now that when he's speaking his own story, it is not in self-glorification. It is not because, I am so wonderful. Narad Muni's mood is to emphasize how for Bhakti there is no cause. Only cause is the mercy, the blessings of pure devotees. When devotees bless us, means when devotees look at us and wish good, even if, blessings is not something mystical, not some energy is passing. It is a desire, when a devotee sees you and he or she genuinely feels that iska acha ho. That is a blessing. And when devotees look at you and when devotees give us blessing, then Bhakti works. This is what Narad Muni wants to emphasize in this section from text number 23 till the last verse, which is, I think, 40. I think this verse has 40 shlokas. No? This chapter has 40 shlokas. So the rest of the chapter is all about blessings, the power of blessings of devotees and the power of Bhakti. So it is very important. He is establishing a very powerful Siddhanta. Siddhanta means a philosophical conclusion. One of the most powerful philosophical conclusions in Hare Krishna movement, our Siddhanta, is that how when we get devotees' blessings, we get mercy, we get Bhakti. We should not underestimate the power of blessings. So now Narad Muni is going to start his story. We'll start with text number 23. All of you have access to the Bhagavatam verse number 23. Please repeat after me. Aham purati tabhave bhavam mune Tasyastu kasyaschana vedavadina nirupito balaka eva yogina Shushrusane pravrishinirvivikshata. One of the Matajis can read. Last time Prabhuji's read.
O Muni,
Translation.
O Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant engaged in the service of Brahmanas who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service.
So now Narad Muni is revealing. Now, right now, he is Narad Muni, a great saint. But he's talking about his past life. He was son of a maid servant. Interesting. काम वाली बाई घर पे आती है, उनका बेटा. And today is Narada Muni, the greatest devotee of Krishna. So क्या हुआ? How did it happen? ये क्या हुआ? कैसे हुआ? कब हुआ? अभी समझना है हमको. What happened, right? This is interesting. This is not easy, and this is not something which is materially conceivable. But before, let us go one birth before that. Of course, that also will come later in the 7th canto. Hopefully, one day we'll reach there. In the 7th canto, it describes, Narad Muni tells that even before he was born a maid servant, the birth before that, he was a beautiful Gandharva called Upabharana. And he was going for one Sankirtan program with some female associates. And he says, I there went and I started singing cinema songs. Prabhupada translates. And there, because of that, the Prajapatis who were there, they got upset because in the Sankirtan festival, he is singing mundane songs. So they cursed him to become son of a maid servant. So then, as a son of a maid servant, what happened, that we will discuss now. This is another interesting thing, Advanced devotees don't shy to speak about their mistakes of the past. But in India, devotees don't do that because, often people who come for satsang program, they look up to the speaker and they put him on such a pedestal that it becomes very difficult to be authentic and honest also many times. Because in India, if a person is at this level of bhakti, spiritual advancement, people treat him at this level. And then if he makes a small mistake, then they take him down. People don't treat you for who you are. Your vulnerability and honesty is not so much appreciated. That's problem in India, but West it is very wonderful. West, you can speak very authentically and people are able to take it. In India, we look up to sadhus as somebody who is very spiritually advanced. But if you see in the Bhagavatam, there are many examples. They openly speak about their struggles and their challenges. But nowadays, if they speak, internet will go wild. Today is a day of scandal and controversy. It is not an age of empathy and vulnerability. That's okay. That's a modern day's problem. So we will continue now. So there is this is one of the most beautiful verses where he's saying, he's suddenly revealing to the audience, the readers, that he's a son of a maid servant. Till now he was like a guru in the parampara. The guru is revealing to his disciple, I was a son of a maid servant. Oh, what really happened? So Srila Prabhupada writes, I'm reading some section from the purport. You can either, if you have it on you can also read see it as I'm reading. Some of the sentences which have really touched my heart. Prabhupada writes here, the wonder of an atmosphere surcharged with devotional service to the Lord is briefly described here by Narada. The wonder of an atmosphere surcharged by devotional service. Now, what was his parentage? Insignificant parentage, technically. Of course, nobody is insignificant. But look at the external, okay? And he was not properly educated also. Right? But still, because his energy was engaged completely in service of Krishna, look at what happened to him. He became an immortal, Amar sage. This is the power. Such is the powerful action of devotional service, Srila Prabhupada says. So therefore, we have to use whatever energy we have in the Lord's service. If you don't do that, then that is called as Maya or illusion. When we engage, then our life becomes glorious. So it is clear that, there's one more very important philosophical point which will be revealed now. That more important than service to Krishna is service to Krishna's devotees. because then they give blessings and then we get attached to Krishna. That doesn't mean we should forget Krishna when we are serving devotees. There is one extreme we go. There is a Mayavad conception where people treat their guru as God. That is one extreme. Guru is everything. He is God. And then there is other extreme, a typical Indian Sahajya or cheap. They take cheap. For them, Krishna is everything. They don't care anybody in between. But our Gaudiya Vaishnava system is a very mature system where we say devotee is most important because he is glorifying Krishna and he is giving us Krishna. We should not forget the Krishna element. If we are not only Guru worshippers, we are worshipping Guru because he is giving us Krishna. We should not forget Krishna there. Very important. Some people only Krishna, some people only Guru. That is extreme. So like this, Narad Muni was his mother, he was son of a maid servant. They were serving devotees. So basically, human energy should be utilized, Prabhupada writes, in service of the Lord and Lord's devotees. Then everything auspicious will happen, even if you are from a lowest parentage, lowest background. So verse 24 reveals the progress in Narada's life. So you can please repeat after me. This is one of the most beautiful verses. Te mai apeta khilacha palerbake Dante drita kridanake nuvartini Chakru kripamyadyapi tulya darshana Shushru shamane munayolpabhasini. Yes, Mati, you can only read today. Today is your day.
Although they were impartial by nature, those followers of the Vedanta blessed me with their causeless mercy. As far as I was concerned, I was self-controlled and had no attachment for sports, even though I was a boy. In addition, I was not naughty and I did not speak more than required.
Yeah, so very important things. He was Alpabhashin, he was sense-controlled, he was following discipline, and the devotees, the Bhakti Vedantis who came there, the devotees who came there, they were impartial by nature. They were giving lot of blessings. They are called here as Apitulya Darshini. Apitulya Darshini means they bestowed their kripa, their blessings on me without discrimination. They don't discriminate. And on his side, he had no attachment to what? Sports. He was not watching World Cup T20. He was not interested in IPL. But I have seen that children, when sometimes parents come and they say, "Oh, my child is attached to sports," we generally tell them it is good. See, better than watching sports is playing because it gives you good physical fitness. It teaches you how to lose graciously because life you don't win always. So sports is a good way for children to learn how to take life. So when they lose, they win. So to be humble in victory, to be gracious in defeat, all these things are taught by sports. So therefore, sports is not bad as long as it's not violent, tamasic sports like you're hitting each other, blood is coming out, all that. There are good sports which are physically, they give you good health, like hockey, football. So sports where you just don't do anything and you're watching or playing video games, it's all very disastrous. So the Kali Yuga version of this, what Bhagavatam is saying is, children are taught Krishna consciousness from childhood, and along with Krishna consciousness, they also do what is needed for their physical well-being, mental and emotional well-being. That is how we practically take it. Because I saw when I was traveling for 2 months, I saw in many places the communities, the children are growing so beautifully. Because parents are most attached to children, and when children get Krishna consciousness in a nice way, the parents also become devotees. So I see so many places in the US, children are learning verses. They know about Krishna so much. I was in Seattle and the community there. So these two children, 12-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl, and her brother is 9 or something. So I was playing Krishna conscious games with them. So I thought, okay, I'll have a quiz. So I thought I'm smart, I told them, okay, tell me, what is Duryodhana's wife's name? So I thought I know this. So children don't know. They looked at each other as if Prabhuji is asking such a simple question. And then they answered it, and then they said, okay, you tell us, Prabhuji, what is Ghatotkacha's wife's name? I went, Bapre. And Duryodhana has how many sons? And what are their names? What are their wives' names? What are their children? Bapre. And these are like studying in American schools, children. And they go to school with Tilak. And it's a non-Hare Krishna school. It is not Hare Krishna school. They go to a secular American school with Tilak, Kantimala, fully absorbed in Krishna conscious. I asked them, so do you know Harry Potter? Because I give examples from Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, because I read J.R. Tolkien when I was their age. When I was their age, that time we didn't have Harry Potter, but I read some years back. So I thought I'll be relate to them. They have not read these books. And they are only reading Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata. And they also play sports, badminton. They keep themselves fit. So what I'm saying is one has to be practical. One has to take the best of Krishna consciousness and also do whatever this world is giving, so that we can serve Krishna better. We are not completely rejecting sports. So these children they play sports and they are practical and they study scriptures. So I did one program for the elders and the children, morning to evening chanting seminar, workshop. Morning 4 hours, evening 4 hours, like that. And then we were doing interactive exercises. So in one exercise, it was in a farm center. So I said, okay, we make groups, four-member group. So I said, okay. And in every group, there are children also. So I said, okay, now all of you have to say which is your favorite verse from scriptures. Generally, we have standard verses which all devotees quote. But every group, they were quoting esoteric verses which I had heard, but not most devotees will not know, from Mukund Mala Stotra, and because these children are saying all this, because these children are trained by Amarendra Prabhu and his brother Arjun Saka Prabhu. They spend hours with these children, and children are happy, and parents are happy. Children are taking up to Krishna consciousness, parents are chanting. So it's a win-win. So this is and when I was seeing all of the things I was seeing there, I was only remembering Narad Muni's example. How Bhagavatam, Krishna consciousness is so powerful. And I saw many stories like that. I was in another place, in another country, city. I will not tell the details because that family will be embarrassed. I'm just telling the power of Krishna consciousness and how Bhagavatam is not theory, it is practical. I was in one house in the morning, I reached there, and I was supposed to stay in that house for 7 hours, 8 hours, and in the evening there was a program. So in those 7-8 hours, this family was serving me with a lot of sincerity. And they kept telling me, Prabhu, we'll be very happy if you meet our son. He is 9 years old, and we'll be happy talking to him about Bhagavatam. So I said, okay, I will talk Bhagavatam to your son. You are forgiven. I understand. Mil gaya na? So where was I? 9-year-old boy. So Prabhuji, please talk to our son. I said, okay, call him. But then both of them looked at each other, the husband and wife, and they said, Prabhuji, son is not here right now. He's gone somewhere out. After some time, he will come. So then after some time he came. I was busy. So I said, come after a few minutes. So then after a few minutes, he didn't come. So I went down, I asked the parents, where is your son? He's supposed to meet me. Oh, Prabhuji has gone to meet on doctor. So after some time. So like that, we were not able to meet all the hours for 8 hours. When I was free, you had gone to some doctor, some hospital, something was happening. I don't know. They were not telling me details, but they were very... And throughout the 8 hours I was staying, constantly the parents are only telling me, Prabhuji, we are very grateful to devotees. Devotees have given us Krishna. Devotees are so nice. Devotees are so... They're only appreciating the devotees in the community. So then finally, when I was leaving the house forever, look, now I will not come back. I don't know when I'll come there again. In the evening when I was leaving, all the family members were there. And 10 minutes before that, the boy came to meet me. 9-year-old boy. And I was shocked. After talking to him, I said, if I had known that who you are, from morning I would have held your hand and I would have not let you go. 9-year-old boy, he knows whole Bhagavatam. And I asked him, what is your favorite section? He says, creation, which is the most technical. And then he gives lectures to the children of his age. And he reads Ramayana, Mahabharata. And he told me he showed me his bookshelf and he showed some mistakes in some Ramayana which people have written. So he's now writing his own Ramayana. And I was listening to him and his in-depth study of Bhagavatam. I felt, is this Krishna consciousness for real? I was pinching myself. And the whole family atmosphere, everybody, thank you, Prabhu. We actually devotees mercy. I glorified the parents. Again, Prabhu, it's all devotees blessings, devotees blessings. So then I left the home feeling that, Bhagavatam, children are taking up. And I've seen in West, the children are more Krishna conscious than in India because there the families are holding on to each other desperately because of the fear of losing their family traditional culture. They're holding on to it desperately. In India, we have taken it for granted. So then I was going in the car. So this Prabhuji was like 1 month with me in that place and was driving me everywhere. He looked at me. I felt, what a family. They're appreciating devotees so much. Their son is so much in Bhagavatam. And you know what the devotee did? He took the car on the side and he stopped. He said, Prabhu, do you know why they appreciate devotees so much? I said, why? Prabhu, you will not be able to take it. The fact is, you don't know. And they didn't tell you. You are there for 8 hours. Their son is 9-year-old. But for the last 2 years, is suffering from a very severe type of cancer. He can die any moment. Oh. Any day he can die. That just didn't go down. I was like, what? And I sat stunned. And if it because they are last 2 years, they have desperately taken shelter of Krishna. And the whole community has rallied around them to support them. And that's why they are constantly thanking devotees because they're emotionally devastated. But like Parikshit Maharaj took shelter of Krishna, that's what Parikshit Maharaj did when he got the news of death. Now, you're all family members. You all very well know that you have attachments. And when you have attachment, that also brings pain, suffering. And that's how material life is. And Bhagavatam teaches us how to be attached to Krishna so that we can handle this pain. And being attached to Krishna actually means being attached to Krishna's devotees because devotees give us Krishna. And that is what these examples are teaching. That is what Narad Muni's example is teaching. So therefore, and because there are two things here. One is the sincerity shown by the practitioner. And the second, more important, is the impartial nature of the devotees who are giving Krishna consciousness. They are genuinely giving. Like this community of devotees, they're genuinely serving. So if this apitulya darshana, that is the word used in the 3rd line of the verse. Apitulya means they are equal to all. They give love without partiality. That is very important. And that's why this family is able to appreciate. And then after 3 days, this Prabhuji, the father of this boy, came to the temple where I was giving Bhagavatam class in the morning. And when he came there, after the class, I caught his hand. I said, Prabhu, I heard what has happened in your house and you never told me I was there for 8 hours. You're only appreciating me and you're talking about Bhagavatam. And then his eyes became very moist. And he said, Prabhu, you have come to give us, you are giving Krishna consciousness. So why will you tell you our problems? If the devotees are there to take care of us, we are happy to receive Krishna because that is ultimate reality. So I could see that they have their attachment, they love their son and they are doing whatever they can to help him come. Then I understood why he was not there from morning to evening because he was going to the doctors, different hospitals. They are doing what they can, but they are also connected to Krishna. So therefore, this is very important that we get association of devotees, and here we have that. Because in association of devotees, Krishna can enter our life. Otherwise, Krishna in vacuum, it's very difficult. So Narad Muni, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our main commentators on this section on the Bhagavatam, he says that in this verse, which we have read just now, the 2 verses that we read, 23 and 24, the qualities of devotional service, I told you there are 14 qualities of bhakti. Here the first one is mentioned, Satam Kripa. Satam Kripa means blessings of pure devotees. Second mentioned here is Mahat Seva, which means service to devotees. Narad Muni's mother was serving advanced devotees. And there is Guru Pada Ashraya, shelter of a Guru type personality. So all these stages are indicated in this shloka of Bhagavatam. So Narada says that these devotees, Bhaktivedantas, they were impartial by nature. They showed a lot of mercy to me, although I was born from a maid servant. And I also developed many qualities like sense control, not doing frivolous, obedient, serving sincerely. So there, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur analyzes that the blessings of devotees is of two types. There are two types of mercy. We say, no, give me mercy, give me blessings. So one he says is, is conditional. Sometimes devotees, they see some qualities exhibited. And because of those qualities exhibited, they give blessing. Like somebody sings very well, somebody does something nice. Okay, I'm so happy with you. They give blessings. That is called as conditional mercy. And sometimes if the quality is absent, they may not even know that devotee. But unconditional blessing is causeless. There is no cause for that, which means it is not that they are seeing some material qualities and they are giving blessings. So these devotees who were served by Narad Muni's mother, they were giving causeless mercy, unconditional. Like they first gave mercy to Narad Muni not because he had good qualities. They just gave blessings to him and then he developed good qualities. So like that. So therefore, and then when he had those good qualities, he got more blessings. So like this. Therefore, this is the way we actually, many of you may not be aware right. But if you are sincere, if you are attracted to Krishna consciousness, it is because somebody has blessed you. Somebody has prayed for us. Otherwise, we don't. Satam Kripa is the first step. The fact that we are still holding on to Krishna means there is somebody's blessing is there. We don't even, a very, very beautiful example in our ISKCON tradition is of Giriraj Swami Maharaj. His Holiness Srila Giriraj Swami Maharaj is one of the senior most devotees in ISKCON, one of the senior most disciples of Srila Prabhupada. His story is very inspiring. When he was a young boy in Boston University, and Srila Prabhupada had come there, and he was a young boy, college student, and in the class, after the class, Srila Prabhupada said, any questions? So this young boy raised his hand and he asked a question. How do we know who is the genuine guru? This is the question he asked. He said, yes, sincerely, how do I know who is the genuine teacher? Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, it depends on whether you want to be servant of God or whether you want to be God. And then Giriraj Maharaj was shocked because when Prabhupada pointed like that, showed like that, he felt shocked because Giriraj Maharaj, as a young college student, in his hostel room where he was staying, he had put up a big poster with some sage there, pointing a finger like this, and the bold, it was written, "You are God." the slogan in that poster was, "You are God." And here he's sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada saying, you want to be servant of God or you want to be God? So he felt Srila Prabhupada saw through me. He went to my room, he saw my poster and he told me. So he was completely shaken. And then Srila Prabhupada continued the question answer. Then there was Prasad. Then Prabhupada never saw him. They went. And then 1.5 years passed. So then the other people, they, in our ISKCON preaching, somebody comes to program, we give them Prasad, we talk to them. So like that, 1.5 years passed. After 1.5 years, when Srila Prabhupada came there again, this time, this boy had become full-fledged devotee, chanting, Pakka Hare Krishna Prabhuji, that kind of ISKCON lingo he knew. And the class was going on. And then he looked at Srila Prabhupada, and after the class, any questions, he raised his hand for something. Prabhupada looked at him and said, oh, Prabhupada remembered. 1.5 years ago, I had seen. Because Giriraj Maharaj was thinking, 1.5 years have passed. Now I've become devotee. Now I'm chanting Hare Krishna. So he's saying, so he was happy that he's practicing Bhakti. He was happy that he's liking Krishna consciousness. He was happy that he's in Krishna consciousness. And he was enjoying Krishna consciousness. And in that happy state, he asked a question. He raised his hand. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, oh, I know you. Last time when I came here, you were there. Giriraj Maharaj was happy. Wow, in front of everybody, Prabhupada is acknowledging that he remembers me. And then what Srila Prabhupada said shocked him. Srila Prabhupada said, I remember you. Last time I was here, I saw you. And I prayed to Krishna. Krishna here is such a nice boy. Make him a devotee. Wow. Wow. Srila Prabhupada said that. And then Giriraj Maharaj says, and then I understood how I became devotee in the last 1.5 years. I was thinking, I have become devotee, I'm nice devotee, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. But when Prabhupada said that, I understood, oh, he prayed for me. That's why I became devotee. So this is what is called as Satam Kripa, causeless mercy. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of this verse, 24th verse which we are reading, what is the last line of the purport? Without being self-control. You can read that loudly. The purport is the last line, without being loudly.
Without being self-controlled, without being disciplined, and without being fully obedient, no one can become successful in following the instructions of the spiritual master. And without doing so, no one is able to go back to God.
This is also important. Otherwise, many times you say, okay, Prabhu, give me blessings, blessings. What will you do? Nothing. Many times the devotees do this also, other extreme. Like once one man told Srila Prabhupada said, will you give up cigarettes? He said, no, Prabhupada, I'll give up when I get causeless mercy. But I said, no, you have to give it up. No, when I get blessings, when I get your blessing, when I get your causeless mercy, I will give up. Prabhupada said, do you want my causeless mercy? You want my full blessing? He said, yes, Prabhupada. When I get that, I'll be able to give up. Prabhupada said, you know what happens when I give full blessings? He said, he was like smiling. He said, yes. Prabhupada then pointed to his devotees, American devotees, who were in dhoti kurta, shaven-headed, saffron. Prabhupada said, when I give complete blessings, then wealthy people, like they were all wealthy people, wealthy family, they gave up everything. Now they're renounced and they are bald, they are shaven-headed, wearing saffron. So you want this causeless mercy? You will get this. Then if I don't know, I will try on my own to give up cigarette. I don't want your causeless blessings. So sometimes, we should be careful. Therefore, Prabhupada is writing a beautiful sentence here that one has to also be disciplined. We have to put effort. And then he is also giving us hope in the next verse. See, we have to be balanced. We can't go to, sometimes we go in extreme in spiritual life. I've seen. Many times we go to extreme. So we have to be balanced. So the 25th verse is very hope-giving also. The power of Bhakti. So please repeat after me. This is one of the most famous verses of the Bhagavatam. Uchcheshtalepan anumodito dvijay Sakrats mabunje tadapasta kilbisha Evam pravrittasya vishuddha chetasa Tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate.
Translation. Once only by their permission, I took the remnants of their food, and by doing so, all my sins were at once eradicated. Thus, being engaged, I became purified in heart, and that time the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive to me.
So he got Mahaprasad. What the pure devotees had eaten, he got their remnants. So that Uchishtalepan, that had its power also. So when we offer food to Lord and then take it out, it is called Mahaprasad. So the power of Prasadam is mentioned here. And in this section, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the other stages of Bhakti are mentioned, of Bhajaneshu Spraha, when we do bhajan, when we actually start the process, what happens. And Bhakti Anartho Pagama, how Bhakti removes the dirty things from the heart is mentioned here. Nishtha and Ruchi is also mentioned. Nishtha means steadiness, how Narada was steady now. And there are more qualities mentioned in the next verse, 26th verse. We can chant that also. Please repeat after me. Tatranvaham Krishna Katha Pragayatam Anugrahena Shrinavam Manohara Tashradayame Nupadam Vishranvata Priya Shrava Sangamama Bhavadruchi.
Translation. O Vyasdev, in that association and by the mercy of those great Vedantists, I could hear them describe the attractive activities of Lord Krishna. And thus, listening attentively, my taste for hearing of the personality of Godhead increased at every step.
So the previous verse, he took prasadam, and now he is hearing more and more Krishna Katha. See, this is all the process which we are following. Taking prasadam, hearing Krishna Katha, and because of that, his faith and attachment kept increasing more and more and more. And then what happened? What happened to his affection on the Lord, his focus on the Lord? What happened to that is mentioned in the text number 27. It became uninterrupted. That is what is mentioned in text number 27. Please repeat. Tasmim stadalabda rucher mahamate priya shravas askalita matir mama yayahameta sadasasvamayaya Pashe mahi brahmani kalpitam pare.
Station. O great sage, as soon as I got a taste of the personality of Godhead, my attention to hear of the Lord was unflinching. And as my taste developed, I could realize that it was only in my ignorance that I had accepted gross and subtle coverings, for both the Lord and I are transcendent.
This is also very, very important verse. Askalita matir means his attention on the Lord became uninterrupted. See, initially when we are practicing bhakti, like what is mentioned here, he was taking prasadam, hearing Krishna Katha. Initially, the bhakti could be interrupted also because of some challenges, some distractions. But our bhakti becomes, when bhakti becomes uninterrupted, we know that the process is really working. Like, you may go to some club, society, but when you have some difficulties, you may not go there. Similarly, our chanting of Hare Krishna may be like that initially, just like one of the social activities. But when our bhakti is practiced, even when there are other calamities happening around us, that means the process has really worked for us. So his attention became askalitamati, which means basically both his gross and subtle body was engaged in Krishna's service. Gross body engaged means basically, like physically offering respect, offering lamp, all that is physically we are doing. Subtle body means mind is absorbed in Krishna, remembering Krishna, sweetness of Krishna's pastimes. So basically, both gross and subtle body is coming out of selfish activity to service of Krishna. And then finally, with all this, what happens? You get prema, love of Krishna, which is mentioned in text number 28. So we can chant that. Ittam sharat pra vrishika vritu hare Vishran vato menu savam yasho malam Sankirtyamanam munibhir mahatmabhir Bhakti pravrutatma rajastamopaha.
Translation. Thus, during 2 seasons, the rainy season and autumn, I had the opportunity to hear these great souled sages constantly chant the unadulterated glories of the Lord Hari. As the flow of my devotional service began, the coverings of the modes of passion and ignorance vanished.
Yeah. So the coverings of modes of passion and ignorance going means he's developed love for Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says he has now developed prema. And then what happened? Now the 29, 30 and 31 also we will chant now. And this section will complete. Because now these 3 verses will reveal how, because of this, see, this is the way he's progressing. He's taken Prasad, he's hearing Krishna Katha, he's getting more and more taste for hearing, and then his bhakti is becoming uninterrupted. And now the Tamo and Rajogun, the lower modes, is going away. So then the sages saw that he's advancing nicely. And then what they did to him, that is revealed now 29, 30, 31. 29 reveals Narada's qualities. So let us read that also. Tasevam menuraktasya parishratasya atena sa shraddhadanasya bhalasya dantasya anucharasya cha.
Translation. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind.
Yeah. So basically, he got attached to the sages more and more. And in heart, his faith also became strong and strong. And then started following the instructions they were giving him. And then just before the sages come for some time only, they don't stay forever. They come, they give gyan, they give their spiritual knowledge, and they are leaving. Before they left, what did they do? That is very interesting. Text number 30 reviews what they did. They were very kind to this boy. What they did? Jnanam guhyatamam yatta sakshad bhagavatoditam anbhavochan gamishyanta kripaya dinavatsala.
Translation. As they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantas, who were very kind to poor-hearted souls, instructed in that most confidential subject which is instructed by the personality of Godhead himself.
No, Srila Prabhupada says that in the purport he says there are three kinds of knowledge. Ordinary knowledge, which we get in the world. Then there is more confidential knowledge about how we are not the body, we are the soul. And then there is most confidential knowledge of loving Krishna, serving Krishna. So this most confidential knowledge this boy started getting from the Bhakti Vedantas because of his sincerity. And so now the next verse reveals, by this knowledge which these sages gave, what will happen to Narada? What is the power of that knowledge is revealed. Okay. Text number 31. Enevaham bhagavato vasudevasya vedasa mayan bhavam avidam yena gachanti tatpadam.
Translation. By that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. By knowing that, one can return to him and personally meet him.
Yeah, so ena gachanti tatpadam. So this is a program. See, from where it has begun, son of a maid servant, assisting his mother, who is serving the pure devotees, and he got some prasad from them, and then he got blessings, like Prabhupada gave blessings to Giriraj Maharaj. He got blessings, he developed all the good qualities, he's hearing Krishna Katha, his faith is increasing, his devotional service is becoming uninterrupted, they're very happy with him, he's getting attached to them, and before leaving, they gave him most confidential knowledge about how you can go and meet Krishna, you can be attached to Krishna. See, ultimately, I'll reveal something very interesting. You may be going to any Hare Krishna temple, you meet any bona fide devotee who is giving classes, they all have an agenda. There is an agenda here. So there is no secret agenda. Openly we are telling you what is the agenda. When a person comes new to Hare Krishna, we want them to be attracted to, see, our first is, people get attracted to what? When they come, they get attracted to the temple, the deity, the structure, the festivals, lamp offering, the ambience, the social things. So these are very attractive for many people. Many people say, I go to Hare Krishna temple, in Juhu, it is so peaceful, the vibrations, I come to Chowpatty, I feel so nice. All this is like, and the festival, it was so nice, so many people came, Rath Yatra, it's all like the first attraction to Krishna consciousness, generally for many people, is about the place, the ISKCON place, the ambience, the institution, the largeness, the big things. These things attract many people. But if you want to evolve and spiritually advance, you have to go deep and understand that beyond this is external. Beyond this, there is a process. So what you're right now doing is you are practicing the process, hearing. Then you go home and chant Hare Krishna, that is a process. You cook food, you offer that food to Krishna and take prasad, that is process. You sing bhajan, Vaishnav bhajan, that is process. You go on Sankirtan, that is process. So the idea is, when you come new, we are okay if you're attracted to only the externals of bhakti. But a preacher will want you to go deeper and get attached to the process. Because process is where transformation happens. This is what happened to Narada. Narada started practicing the process. He started controlling his senses, started hearing, started chanting. But do you know something? The journey and evolution doesn't end with the process. Because after some time, you have to go deeper and understand that below the process, there is something deep. What is below? What is deeper than the process? That is the person Krishna. You can't forget. Sometimes we get attached to the process so much that we forget why are we practicing this. There are some people who may do a lot of chanting, 192 rounds, 100 rounds, or doing tapasya. Like we have many brahmacharis now. In these last 5 days, they did not drink one drop of water. They did not eat anything. They did Bhishma Panchak, very severe vows. Many brahmacharis did that. And not only that, they were doing normal service also. They're serving prasadam, cooking. So if you talk to them, you'll not even know that last 5 days, they have not eaten anything or not drunk. They are intensely following the process. Why? Because they're attached to the person Krishna. They want to please Krishna. And they want to serve devotees. But many times what happens to many of us, we get attached to the process, but in the process of the process, we forget the person Krishna. So going deep means, this is His Holiness Kadamba Kanand Swami Maharaj explained this very beautifully in his book, Going Deep. He says in ISKCON, we get first attracted to the institution, the grandeur. But we have to go deep and get attracted to the process. So are you following the process? That is the question. And as you practice the process, you have to go deeper and get attached to the person, Krishna. Now, Narada, now, most confidential knowledge, now the Bhaktas are leaving, they are telling him about the person Krishna. Get attached to the person Krishna. See, it all begins. See, initially, what he was doing was assisting his mother and taking Ma Prasad. Now, this is very powerful. Prasadam is so powerful. Especially remnants, you take, I don't know if I've experienced when you eat ordinary food and food offered to Krishna, cooked for Krishna, and then eaten, there's a big difference. Even if you externally can't make out, spiritually it makes a lot of difference. Because there's some energy that transmits into that because it is offered with devotion. So खाने में कुछ तो चला जाता है. क्या वो कैसे होता है, we don't know, but it happens. And we have seen it all the time. Prasadam transforms the consciousness. And those who have eaten prasadam for a long time and then they go out and then they eat something non-cooked by devotees and not offered to Krishna, you can feel the difference in the consciousness. You can immediately feel that when Vrindavan, when Sadhuji, when Babaji was telling this story that, how you cook, how you offer, your system becomes very sensitive, you understand. Like, even now, when I take prasadam in the temple, I can immediately know that, hey, Purushottam Prabhu ne banaya. I can know it. Sadhuji ne banaya. Although if you see, they have a recipe, it is fixed. Everything is fixed. It has to be, that to just follow the system. And we have employees also. So when I'm eating, I can know, acha, Purushottam Prabhu nahi hai kitchen. Aaj usne banaya. Oh, he is an employee. You can make out from the taste. Although it is externally same. So what I'm saying is, वो प्रसादम में कुछ तो है जो devotee जो sincerely बनाता है, बाहर आपको experience होता है. One Vrindavan Babaji was saying that he went to one house, he went to one Mataji had called for prasadam, very poor Mataji, financially not so endowed, but she wanted to serve sadhus. So this Prabhuji went with his disciple and they took prasad. And he was surprised because his Mataji had cooked an elaborate feast. Very meager sources of income, financially not so endowed. And he was like little amazed at the hospitality that she offered to him and his disciple. And then they took prasad and they were leaving. After some time when they were coming back to the ashram, the disciple said, "Oh, Gurudev, I'm sorry I did a blunder." What? He said, "No, when I was leaving, the lower modes got the better of me. There was 2-3 nice serving spoons था उनके घर पे बड़ा वाला, वो silver plate था एक side में. So he put that in his bag, and so that lady did not see. She was inside winding up, and then they left. And then he said, and I don't know how I did it. I got my impulses. I just became impulsive. I did this. So the sadhu smiled and he said, let's go back. So they went back to the house. They returned it. And then the sadhu asked, Mataji, tell me honestly. I know you very well. You are financially very, very poor. How did you arrange such an elaborate feast? Tell me. Then she broke down. She said, I'm sorry. I stole some money from a grocer's shop. She did something like this so that she could serve the devotee sincerely. Sincerity tha, but her consciousness was impacted like that. And that consciousness went into the cooking. And that food was eaten by devotee. Sometimes we underestimate all this. We eat anything, anywhere. But I've seen devotees, as they get older, they become very sensitive to what they eat, where they eat, who has cooked. They become a little refined because it immediately, what happens if your room is very dirty and you put one bucket kachara more, you don't understand. But if you have cleaned the room nicely, then even if little kachara comes, you become irritated, right? So somebody is eating only prasad, and then little bit of some other thing comes, they get disturbed. If you're not eating prasad, then सब चलता है तो उसमें ये भी आ गया. It doesn't make a difference. So, but that is a power, prasadam. And when devotees offer food to Krishna, cooked with love and devotion, and then when you eat that, it may not be very rich, it may not be the best in terms of taste, but in terms of quality, in terms of the impact it has on the consciousness, it has a lot of power. So this is how Narada's journey began. Assisting his mother, who is serving Bhakti Vedantis, then he's getting some prasad, and then hearing. Prasadam se phir hearing bhi chalu ho jata hai. Because that is connected. That's why in ISKCON, we have after program, we generally arrange prasadam because it's complementary. Prasadam and Katha goes together because this is what Narada Muni did. This is our process. When you're taking prasadam, it is a process you are following. So this is very important. Prasadam, the Prabhupada said ISKCON is a kitchen religion. He said we have to give prasadam. So when the ISKCON started, in the initial days, these young boys and girls would come, hippies, many of them, and sometimes they would get distracted. They wanted to leave, but Srila Prabhupada did a magic thing, or just outside the door, 26th Avenue, there is a stand. On that, he had put one big dabba filled with gulab jamuns. And these American boys and girls had no idea about gulab jamun. They had never tasted syrup रहता है उसमें और वो brownish, soft, succulent. And when they tasted it, you were like mesmerized. What is this? And Prabhupada said, whenever you told the boys, whenever you feel bored, anything you feel like, anything you just want to get stimulated, you feel bored, just pick up and eat as much as you want. So he had made a big jar of gulab jamun and kept it there at the end. Then the boys would feel, okay, I'm bored, yaar, abhi jate, chhodte, then gulab jamun kha leta tha. Then you'd like it, then you would stay back. So Prabhupada said, these are ISKCON bullets. They'll finish your material life. So the journey begins with prasad. Before coming to ISKCON, we thought prasad meant little bundi you get in some Hanuman Mandir. That is the idea of prasad. But when we come to ISKCON, we realize prasad means something else. Hot prasadam we get. This is very, very different. I still remember 1996, 97, the first ISKCON program I attended, satsang program. I still remember the prasadam I ate there. And dokla and gulab jamun was there. Puri was there. I still remember the place and the prasadam. And I was shocked. I said, this is prasad. So anyway, prasadam is the beginning. And then our journey begins. We get to here and we develop love for Krishna. Narada's journey is revealing. I request you, now we have completed up to 31 verse from today. From 23 we started, right? 23 to 31 we did. So 32 to the remaining, I think 40 is the last verse. So you can read the verse and translation and come. We will briefly go through it and then go to the next chapter. Because next chapter will reveal, the movie has suspense, twist and turn. So we will get into the story of Narada, how After all this, Bhaktivedanta is left. What happened? That we will discuss. We also have to do little homework. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna. It is already late, so we will not take questions today. Next time we will take questions. The next week we will meet at 7:30 because 7:30 to 8:30 is a better time. Okay. Thank you very much for attending online also. Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you so much.
Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.